On February 5, 2025, 17 state attorneys general wrote to congressional leadership about the response to COVID-19. It was addressed to Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune. This is that letter, read from the page itself.
An inquiry into the response to COVID-19. Dear Speaker Johnson and Majority Leader Thune, we, the undersigned Attorneys General, write to commend your work to promote transparency and accountability in studying the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. As part of your continued efforts in holding malign actors accountable for their actions arising out of the pandemic, if you believe that further findings or direct evidence that suggests there may have been any violation of state laws, please include us in any actions taken so that we may evaluate state-level courses of action. Although former President Biden attempted to shield potential bad actors, like Dr. Anthony Fauci, from accountability via preemptive pardons, we are confident that state laws may provide a means to hold all actors accountable for their misconduct. With respect to your work thus far, we read with great interest the findings of the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic. We commend Chairman Brad Winstrup and the subcommittee for their excellent work in exposing the fraud, waste, and abuse that plagued the pandemic response. Equally as important, we commend the subcommittee for its attempt to hold government actors accountable, highlighting misrepresentations, evasions, and potential deceitfulness by high-ranking government officials. As you are doubtlessly aware, the subcommittee's report delineated several key areas where Dr. Fauci and others engaged in potential wrongdoing or misconduct. COVID-19's origins. The report suggests high-ranking medical officials may have misled the public about COVID-19's origins in at least two ways. First, the report indicates Dr. Fauci prompted a proximal origin theory of COVID-19's origins, which was meant to disprove a lab leak theory. As we all now know, and as the report found, the weight of the evidence increasingly supports a lab leak hypothesis, and Dr. Fauci's potential involvement in attempting to discredit that hypothesis is troubling. Any deliberate manipulation or suppression of alternative hypotheses could have delayed critical understanding and responses to the pandemic, with dire consequences for global health. Second, the report indicates that Dr. Fauci may have misled Congress about the National Institutes of Health's funding of gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. In response to questioning from Senator Rand Paul before the U.S. Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, Dr. Fauci categorically denied that such funding was occurring 3 times. The subcommittee confirmed that such research was indeed funded through the EcoHealth Alliance, directly contradicting Dr. Fauci's statements. This discrepancy not only raises questions about the integrity of his testimony, but also about the broader implications for scientific integrity and public trust. The possibility of perjury, or at least a significant lack of transparency, demands attention.
NIH oversight failures. The report notes a significant lapse in the oversight of NIH grants, particularly those awarded to EcoHealth Alliance. These grants facilitated gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology under conditions that were not adequately monitored, directly implicating Dr. Fauci's leadership in potential mismanagement or negligence. Indeed, the multitudes of findings from Congress show that American tax dollars went directly to this research without proper scrutiny from the public health policy decisions. The report emphasizes how these actions, among others, have contributed to a profound erosion of public trust in health institutions. The need for accountability is not just about correcting past oversights, but also about ensuring that future public health crises are met with policies that are transparent, evidence-based, and trustworthy. For example, Dr. Fauci led a deliberate campaign to stifle the voices of premier health scholars regarding the lack of adequate testing of vaccines. This subsequently siloed crucial information from the public that may have led to more public awareness concerning the risks of myocarditis and pericarditis among young adult males, the verified increased risk of blood clots in women, and the long-term effects vaccines had on fertility. The notion of trusting the science not only was grotesquely false, but was the very definition of propaganda that contributed to serious vaccine injuries and, in some cases, death. Despite these serious findings, former President Biden issued a sweeping, full, and unconditional pardon for Dr. Fauci for any offenses which he may have committed or taken part in during the period of time from January 1, 2014 through the date of the pardon. The pardon purports to apply to any offenses arising from his service as Director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, as a member of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, or the White House COVID-19 Response Team, or as Chief Medical Advisor to the President. To say we are troubled by the scope and timing of the pardon on the heels of the subcommittee's final report would be a gross understatement. To ensure that former President Biden's shameful pardon does not frustrate accountability, we urge Congress to consider using all available tools at its disposal. Certainly, one potential tool at our disposal is the referral of any pertinent findings to state officials. As you are aware, a pardon by former President Biden does not extend to preclude state-level investigations or legal proceedings. As state attorneys general, we possess the authority to address violations of state law or breaches of public trust. We are fully committed to investigating any malfeasance that may have occurred to the fullest extent of our authority, and are prepared to collaborate with you in further efforts.
Our current capabilities may be somewhat limited, and thus your cooperation would be invaluable. You are uniquely positioned to assist us by providing us with information that could outline potential courses of action under state law should they exist. If possible, please furnish us with the necessary details so that we may make informed decisions aimed at holding malign actors accountable. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
The letter closes, sincerely, and is signed by 17 state attorneys general, including South Dakota Attorney General Marty Jackley. Again, it was written to Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune, and copied to Congressman James Comer, Senator Rand Paul, Senator Bill Cassidy, and Dr. J. Bhattacharya. Dr. Bhattacharya, now Director of the National Institutes of Health, co-authored the Great Barrington Declaration, one of the premier health scholars this letter describes as targeted. Emails later revealed through the Freedom of Information Act show National Institutes of Health Director Francis Collins urging Dr. Fauci that the declaration needed a quick and devastating published takedown. Senator Rand Paul, whose questioning of Dr. Fauci this letter cites, has long pursued accountability for the origins of the virus and the funding of gain-of-function research.